The Tim Walz Dreamcast saga explained. So I've heard about this, like referenced a couple times, but I actually don't know what it is. Is this about Tim Walz being a gamer? If he's a gamer, then that's going to be a whole extra page on his resume of baseness in my book. Because I don't know if you guys have seen my, like, sort of on-stream discovery of Tim Walz, but I'd never really heard of him prior to his announcement as Kamala's VP pick. And so when they did that big speech and event together in, I believe it was, in Detroit, right? Or not Detroit. It was one of those cities up in like the Great Lakes region, the states that I've never been to before, and thus are kind of just like a fantasy land in my mind. I think it was Detroit. Somewhere around the Great Lakes area. I know I could never run for president and win when I have this conception of like half the country. It's like, yeah, everything north, like Tennessee, I haven't been there in the middle part of the country, so it's kind of all, everything from the Dakotas to the Great Lakes is all one big to me. Anyway, they did this big event there, and I very quickly found myself on the Tim Walz train. I imagine many of you guys had the same experience. He is so fucking charismatic. He has energy for days. For those of you guys that don't know, he's also a veteran, a football coach. He's everything that Republicans have desperately tried to brand themselves as for so long. He is this all-American, he's a teacher, a history teacher, I believe. He's just this all-American guy with a very clean record and who just seems to be a very good man. Like, he's John America, exactly. And he's everything the Republicans have desperately tried to brand themselves as. And Tim Walz has recognized this. And his main line of attack towards the right and towards Trump and the entire Republican Party has been the idea that they're weird. Just the simple, they're so weird, right? And it's so effective. Not only does it piss off the conservatives, but on top of that, it's actually resonating with people. It's pointing to, yeah, no, the Republicans are kind of the weirdos at this point. If you're just trying to not support the weirdo party, then you certainly shouldn't be supporting the Republicans. And the right is really upset about it, because not only is Tim Walz being the VP pick hitting the Republicans where it hurts, but Tim Walz knows what to say to hit the Republicans where it hurts. And they've been floundering, absolutely floundering, trying to go after him. At one point, they tried calling him Tampon Tim. Do you guys want to know why? Because he signed a bill that mandated access to feminine hygiene products for free in school bathrooms. This would literally be like if he wrote a law mandating free soap in the school bathrooms, and they started calling him Soapy Tim. Okay, it's genuinely a swing and a miss. Did not catch on. In fact, if anything, Tim Walz owned it, and like Democrats owned it, and were like, really? That's your insult towards him, and that's why you're gonna insult him? Okay, cool, sure. Yeah, keep self-reporting. But let's hear about this. Apparently he might be a gamer as well. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, the Democrats' VP nominee, appears to be a cool, chill dude. People seem to like him, and how could you hate someone who owned a Dreamcast and played Crazy Taxi? After this week's Democratic National Convention, Timothy James Walz, better known as Tim Walz, is officially the vice president nominee for the party following Joe Biden dropping out of the race in July. Kamala Harris, the current VP, stepped up after Biden dropped out and is the Dems' de facto presidential candidate. Walz was a smart pick for a lot of reasons, including his progressive policies and dad vibes. But for most of August, the main thing I see people talking about is how Walz was a big Sega Dreamcast dude. Ah, okay. So apparently he was a gamer back in the day. That's what I like to hear. This all started shortly after Harris announced Walz as her VP pick. On August 9th, the New York Times published a report about the Minnesota governor and former football coach, and buried quietly in the article was a brief mention that Walz played so much Dreamcast that his wife reportedly seized it and hid it from him. Wait, okay, this isn't even like, oh, he played it when he was younger. It's like, nah, I game a lot. My wife had to hide my console because I was on it too much. That's great. He's literally me. Holy shit. As you might expect, this led to a lot of people going, wait, Walz was a Dreamcast dude? And people began digging into this story and the VP Nom's video game history. This led to someone discovering an old post on Reset Era from 2018 where user Bryn Tanner claimed to have Walz Dreamcast console. Quote, "Oh, I bought a Dreamcast for $25 back in 2012 from one of his former high school students who worked on his campaign," posted Bryn Tanner in November 2018. Walz was just like, "Hey, we have this old video game thing. Do you want it?" And the guy took it. The day the NYT profile on Walz went live, Bryn Tanner posted again after the Dreamcast about the Dreamcast on Reset Era. God, my brain is scrambled today. I'm sorry, guys. Been away for a little bit. I gotta warm up. Quote, "Lamau, yes, I still have that Dreamcast. This fucking rules." WAPO comments on the Dreamcast. IGN finds its owner. On August 19th, the Washington Post published an in-depth article connecting Walz's candidacy to the Dreamcast and video games in general. Quote, "Yet in the best cases, video games are more than mere diversions. One plausible definition of a video game is a problem that requires solving." That's fair. There's something revealing about the people who give themselves fully to that enterprise, an eagerness to see something broken put right, to practice through play the work of systemic repair. This led to a bad tweet from conservative idiot, weirdo, and weirdo, and bad tweet expert Charlie Kirk. On August 19th, Kirk tried to dunk on the funny story about Walz loving his Dreamcast and spin it as a negative, asking, "Doesn't anybody else find a 35-year-old man getting that addicted to video games a little sad, or dare I say it, weird?" I really do love when these conservative pundits, like, try to attack people on the left for liking video games, and then in response, their own fans are like, "What the fuck do you mean gamers are losers?" Remember when that happened to the, what was it, red conservative media guy? The dude who pisses in the cups and founded, like, the Proud Boys? Gavin McInnes. Remember when he did that? His fans wanted him to talk about Gamergate because he was a big conservative pundit and he had a growing audience of right-wing gamer fans that wanted to hear him rant about these feminists ruining video games. Instead, he went on a rant about how any adult who cares about video games or plays them is a loser, and in response, he got hit with so much hate that it's taken like 7 years for him to lose that reputation. Then he did it again recently about anime, and now he's right back to where he started, because he doesn't realize that he's catering to an audience of gamers and anime fans that are, like, really into the right-wing stuff, but he can't help but shit-talk it, because he's this, like, old-school kind of, can't keep his mouth shut about what he finds cringe kind of conservative, and he's just ostracizing his own audience. Didn't Michael Knowles say something like that as well? Yeah, and they always tank and get a bunch of hate comments when they say this shit. As you might expect, this went very poorly for Mr. Kirk, with big-name video game industry people clowning on him in the replies, and I'm sure his own fans, too. Quote, "Video games have grown to become the leading form of entertainment across the globe." That is true. I think gaming is the highest grossing entertainment industry in the world every year. He was certainly ahead of his time. Plus, the Dreamcast was an incredible platform, replied former Xbox hype man and current Unity community director Larry Herb. Finally, IGN reporter Rebecca Valentine put a nice bow on this whole Dreamcast story. She was able to track down the Reset-era Dreamcast owner and talk to them about Walz's console. He helped her connect with Tom Johnson, someone who previously worked with Walz on his congressional campaign. Quote, "Walz is really just such a normal and great guy," Johnson told IGN. "He's one of those guys, it's like he's your friendly neighbor, and then you find out that the guy has the Guinness Book World Record for free throw shooting. Or world records for free throw shooting. He's just a normal guy, he just happens to be a governor too. Everything people say about him being this down-to-earth guy, really nice, really friendly, really earnest, it's all true." I love that. Like, he's got this, everyone who talks about him has nothing but nice things to say, and then when people talk to more people, they're like, yeah, no, when you hear that, like, everyone saying nice things about him, it's totally true. He's just like that. You know, it's like, shit, this guy is awesome. And according to Johnson, when Walz brought the Dreamcast to the campaign office, it included a copy of Crazy Taxi. Does that mean the VP Nom played a ton of Crazy Taxi? Maybe. But then again, who owned a Dreamcast and didn't have a copy of Crazy Taxi? Regardless, it's nice to know that a Dreamcast sicko might one day end up in the White House. We finally... oh. Oh, okay. I don't know why it just continues with like another article. God, I hate how websites are organized today. I love that. The fact that Tim Walz is such a affable guy, it's perfect. He's so likable. He's so charismatic. He's so affable. He seems like, he just seems like a dad, and everyone loves it. Tim Walz having a Sega Dreamcast means that he might have played Sonic as well. Yeah, he likes to go fast, so I wouldn't be surprised. Why are Republicans such haters? Well, I mean, they kind of have to hate him regardless because, he is the Democrat nominee and they're Republicans. But the fact that they have nothing really to go at him for other than being a Democrat is pretty nice. Because he's just nothing that Republicans like to strawman the left as being. Even Kamala. Have you seen what Trump supporters argue when, suggesting why Kamala Harris is bad? They say things like, well, she's clearly insane. Have you heard her laugh? Do you really want an insane person, a crazy person to run our country? No sane person laughs like that. And it's like, who's buying this? Like, who's actually buying this? People don't like Kamala because she's a woman and black and they don't trust her? Well, the racism and sexism stuff is not winning Republicans points here. It's not. It's actually hurting them really badly. I do not get complacent by any means, but man, do I think Kamala's gonna sweep. I really do. I think Tim and Kamala are going to sweep hard, and I think the Republicans are going to have to do something way worse than Jan 6 if they want to try and overturn and steal the election again. Funnily enough, that's the argument Vosh used prior to her joining the race. That's, their only criticism of her policies. Wait. They also attack her for the border, but that's it? That's the only criticism of her policies? Well, it's not even her policies, though. Do you know what the Republicans are attacking her for? And attacking the Democrats broadly for right now? They are upset that when someone illegally immigrates to America and they get arrested, they are ID'd in some way, given a court date, and then they are released to then go to court, assuming they're not seen as, a risk to not show up to court, and have their trial, right? And if they're determined to have, illegally immigrated and they can't make a case or whatever, then they'll be deported. That is what will happen. And Trump and the Republicans are mad that instead of locking them up and then just deporting them, or locking them up until their court date and then deporting them, that we let them go like any other person in America to await their court date instead of holding them indefinitely. That is what the Republicans are mad about right now. They're upset that we aren't keeping enough immigrants in cages. Anyway, I think that Tim Walz and Kamala are going to have this in the bag, but do not get complacent, because we have to make that a reality. It's not a thing that's just going to happen out of the aether. It's just we have to make it happen. So I really do hope that you guys are willing to keep the energy, right? You gotta vote. You need to tell your friends to vote. You'd be surprised at how many people you might know that are just super disconnected from politics and don't even plan on voting because they don't know anything about it. If you're close enough with them and they trust you well enough, you can explain these things to them, tell them how important voting is, and you might be able to convince them to. Maybe multiple friends. Maybe your whole family. Maybe family members or whatever, right? Because there are people in your life interpersonally that you could change the vote of, or at least turn into a vote against Trump. So, like I said, I'm pretty enthusiastic about where things are headed, but don't get complacent. Anyway, if you enjoyed this segment, please consider leaving a like. Every thumbs up, no matter what you're watching, whether it's a stream, a VOD, or a video, goes a long way to help the channel, so I really do appreciate it. And of course, consider following my social medias linked down below, subscribe and ring the bell icon to see more from me, and comment down below as well. It helps a ton, and I really do appreciate it. These things basically just boost my channel and the algorithm, and it really means a lot to me. It's totally free. And of course, if you want to, you can join my fan Discord. It's totally free as well, and it's the main hub of my community and fan base. space. We do watch parties, call-in streams, and game events there, so if you don't want to miss that, you better join. I also announce all my new uploads and streams there, too, so, you know, YouTube can be a little spotty in that department. So if you want to make sure you don't miss anything, you want to be in the Discord. And then, of course, if you want to support me directly, financially, and you feel like doing so and you can afford it, please consider doing so by donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or supporting me through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, StreamElements, Patreon, or buying merch as well through the Streamlabs link down below. I do have a merch store, so yeah, check it out. It's pretty dope. Thank you for watching.